People will say that 95% of traders lose money. Now, I've heard people say 90%. I've heard people say 99%. I don't know what the exact number is, but you know what? The one thing I do know, it's probably pretty darn close to at least 95% of traders. They do lose money. And it's not that they're not smart. I know a lot of really super smart people in other areas of life who start trading and they just can't make it work. It is an affliction. And I will tell you the main reason for it.
Hello, Wealth Builders. You're listening to Wealth Building with Options. Here's your host, Dan Passarelli.
Hey, Wealth Building family. Welcome to episode 38, The Objective of My Affliction. I have a little different setup today. I'm staying in Michigan for the week, getting a change of scenery, checking out the fall colors. So if things sound a little different, that's why. And this will be a bit of a shorter episode, but it's an important one. It paves the way for success when trading the wheel. Everything we're going to talk about today is super important. So I wanted to make sure to drop the episode at the usual time, even if it is, well, let's just say small but mighty. Before we begin today, our show producer, Bobby Valentine, asked me to talk a little bit about why I always talk about helping grow the wealth building with options community. Why does it matter for you? And there are a couple reasons. First, no one who is ever good at anything ever did it alone. We've all had people helping us, pushing us, even maybe competing with us that we wanted to do better than. Either way, it's community and community works. Right now, for you, this podcast might be something you listen to now and then, and you get something from it, and that helps you grow. But if you share that you're listening to this with others, they might notice. And soon as you know it, you're talking about it in real life with someone that either you already know but didn't know they were interested in this kind of stuff, or maybe someone that you met as a result of talking about this. Sharing this show can literally expand your network, your real network, and that's extremely valuable. How valuable? I mean, I've been in markets for around 35 years, and I'm still learning and finding people to talk about stocks and investment ideas with. My community of friends, family, colleagues, teachers, and students helps me grow as an investor, and I know that it can help you too. And finally, when you teach, you learn. When you do find yourself talking with your newfound community of traders and investors, you'll have things that you can share. By now, from listening to this show, you can explain lots of things, from what a covered call is to the mental aspect of investing to different types of trade setups, lots of stuff. And that benefits the person you're sharing that with, but it also benefits you. You distill your thoughts just by describing them. Concepts become clearer. You learn as you teach. And further, they say it's in giving that we receive. When you introduce someone to an idea and help them and share with them, it comes around to you. And some of that is pretty cause and effect. The reciprocation principle, they call it, which basically means if you do something for someone, they feel obligated to return the favor. But it doesn't really even have to be that cause and effect directly. I mean, it's kind of just plain karma. Help others and it helps you. So if you would take a minute and share a link to one of your social channels or via text or email with anyone you think might be interested in building wealth through options, I think it'll be great for all of us. You can share either of these two links, either markettaker.com/applepod, which is market as in stock market, taker as in take what is rightfully yours, two T's in a row, markettaker.com/applepod or markettaker.com/Spotify pod. And those link to our show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, respectively. And that's a great way that you can share this directly and truly benefit from it. I appreciate your involvement in this truly great community. Objectives pave the way for success. And yes, part of that is the great psychological importance of having a goal in mind. The idea that you'll never get from point A to point B if you don't know where or what point B is. If you're going to achieve something, you've got to know what it is you want to achieve. You've got to visualize it. Some call it manifesting. Just plain old having a target to shoot at. It makes all the difference. And a very specific target, too. I'm not talking about taking a dart and trying to hit the dartboard or even the bullseye. It's about aiming to hit that point within the bullseye that lies at the exact dead center. You aim for that, and even if you're a little bit off, it's going to be great. Because things never really work out exactly perfectly. But I will tell you, the tighter the goal, the closer we tend to get to it. But the other part of how objectives fit into our cycle recycle trading is how, in our mind's eye, we pre-frame the trade itself. Two traders can make the exact same trade at the exact same time, at the exact same price, and get the exact same result. And one can love that result, and one can find it lacking. Let me just talk about how important objectives are. There is a saying out there. I don't remember if I talked about this on the show or not, but people will say that 95% of traders lose money. Now, I've heard people say 90%. I've heard people say 99%. I don't know what the exact number is, but you know what? The one thing I do know, it's probably pretty darn close to at least 95% of traders. They do lose money. And it's not that they're not smart. I know a lot of really super smart people in other areas of life who start trading and they just can't make it work. It is an affliction. And I will tell you, the main reason for it is not setting an objective from the get-go. It's such a simple thing. We talk about trading the plan. You've heard me talk about that, or John Kamisic, who's on the show all the time, you've heard him talk about that. And the objective is part of it. I mean, the objective is most of it. Why am I making this trade to begin with? Is it to make money? Well, yes, kind of, but in a specific way that I've identified this to be an opportunity for. Not having an objective, that afflicts a lot of traders. But it doesn't have to. Because you know what? When it comes to the wheel, the objectives are actually really, really easy things. There's only two. I have spent decades thinking about this and distilling it down to the first principles, just the most basic formulation of it. There are two objectives, and I've mentioned them on the show before, but let's do a quick refresher and kind of flesh it out a little bit. The two objectives that you can have as a wheel trader are the skate objective or the trade objective. Skate or trade. Skate or trade. The skate objective is to sell a covered call or a cash secured put with the goal to skate on it, which means to not get assigned. I want to sell this option. I want to keep the premium, and that's my profit, and I move on. The trade objective is to sell a covered call or a cash secured put with the goal to get assigned on that option and to trade out of the stock if it's a covered call or into the stock if it's a cash secured put, while also benefiting from the premium as part of how we think of our P&L on the trade. I cannot possibly emphasize strong enough the importance of being one with your skate or trade objective going into a wheel trade. If you take nothing else away from this whole podcast series, the two overriding key contributing concepts to building wealth by trading the wheel are the skate or trade objective and trading in cycles. Those two concepts are intertwined. The one depends on the other. The outcome of the cycle recycle trade depends on the investor knowing his or her objective of whether they want to skate or trade. Having taught options as my profession for around 2 decades now, I've observed that there are a few just like things you say when you're teaching an options class that everybody sort of uses the same verbiage. There's sort of the standby explanation of covered calls or of cash secured puts. So as far as covered calls go, default lesson verbiage goes something like this. So you sell a call at this strike and you're okay selling the stock at the strike price if you get assigned. Similarly, the corresponding cash secured put rhetoric goes something like this. So you sell a put at this strike price and you're okay buying the stock at the strike price if the put gets assigned. And this is where people who are in the class say, oh, yes, professor, or yes, Dan. Of course, I would be okay buying the stock if it fell from $98 to my strike price at 90. I would love to buy the stock $8 lower. That sounds great. Until the stock is like $30 lower and it's trading at like $70 a share, then the person who is in that class just can't believe how much selling cash secured puts sucks. Those darn market makers, I hate them. The house always wins. This whole game is rigged. Rigged, I tell you. It's rigged. Is there any other activity in which participants willingly lie to themselves just with such fervor? Doubtfully. Things go wrong in stock investing. That's about the only thing guaranteed when it comes to the stock market. We just don't know in advance what will go wrong. Of course, traders and investors understand that anything can happen, but when the anything is a bigger loss than expected, its pain is disproportionately high. Pain in and of itself is, well, painful by self-referential definition. But the pain is just the beginning. The decisions investors make are affected or afflicted by prospect theory. Prospect theory tells us, well, one of the things that prospect theory tells us is that it is most common for investors or traders or gamblers or, I mean, really anybody who's doing anything to take more risk after a loss to get back to even. So maybe this rears its head as a reaction in which the investor decides to double down and sell more puts because this one went against me. Or maybe the reaction is to panic and just to sell the stock right away upon assignment. I'm going to avoid losing more. One of the things that I know for sure, and I can show you this on charts. In fact, we'll probably do this in a video extra a few episodes down the road because I put this in the book. I just wrote about it in a later chapter. Investors love buying puts at the bottom of a market move to hedge. There's air quotes there that maybe you can't see. To hedge. Well, I know you can't see. You look at any chart, whenever there's a big major move downward, like the COVID thing or 2008, like I'm talking about those once in a decade moves, implied volatility is always highest at the bottom of that move. That's because that's when people are buying the most options, mostly puts to hedge. It's weird, but that's what people do. Then, of course, the market bounces because cooler heads prevail. They realize that the damage is done, but everybody bought their puts at the bottom, and then they have to sell them at the top, and it's sort of like the double whammy. Hopefully they didn't sell their stocks and buy puts, because then it's really terrible. But decision making suffers as a result of a lot of these heuristics that we talk about. And the whole point of learning about these heuristics is to overcome them. These things like prospect theory and disproportionate reaction to risk and all that kind of things, all the things that we talked about, especially in the past 3 episodes. The only reason that it's important to learn about these things is so that you can fight them. And the absolute best way to fight them And in fact, the starting point for the only way to fight them is to tie down that objective. And because with the wheel, there's only two, skate objective or trade objective, man, it's easy. If every time you make a covered call or cash secured put trade, you just tell yourself, or you write down on your spreadsheet, piece of paper, journal, post a little note on the wall where you trade, skate, or trade, and you just make sure that you're picking one of them, I think your trading is going to be massively better overnight. And that about wraps it up for this show. But before you go, take the next step in your mastery of building wealth with options and consider a paid subscription. With a paid subscription, you'll get video extra podcast episodes to get hands-on video training on things we talk about, subscriber-only posts where I really drill down on a stock or opportunity and share ideas. You'll get all my covered call and cash secured put trades that I'm making, access to our monthly Ask Me Anything webinar, our unusual options activity alerts, and much more. And let me take a minute to thank our newest paid subscribers. Thank you, Michael, Matt, Mark, Santosh, Esh, and Billy. To join this list of wealth building paid subscribers, just go to wealthbuildingpodcast.com and choose your subscription level. Until next time, wealth building family, invest excellently.
Options involve risk and are not suitable for all investors. Before buying or selling an option, read characteristics and risks of standardized options. A link is provided in the show notes. To learn more about your host, Dan Passarelli, please visit markettaker.com.